Hey guys, this is Alex, and welcome back to the Two Dudes, Brews, and Reviews podcast. Today we're talking about the 2014 Oscar-winning film Birdman, starring Michael Keaton, Edward Norton, and Emma Stone. Throughout our conversation, we talk about the themes, cinematography, and soundtrack of the movie, but we also go off on tangents about Marvel movies, the death of cable television, and public perception. If you like what you hear, please make sure to subscribe to the podcast, and if possible, tell your friends about us. With that being said, we hope you enjoy the show.
What's up, man?
I got a question for you, right off the bat.
Okay, yeah, what's up?
How do we end up here? This place is a fucking dump. It smells like balls.
That's the opening. I have a lot of questions to ask you as well. There was a lot to this movie where, like, I have a few more questions, and I think that's probably the intent of some of the aspects of the film.
Well, I hope I can answer some of them, but I can't guarantee that. You know, in all reality, it might smell like balls down here in the basement right now because my air conditioning is leaking and the carpet's a little wet. So my wife joked that we'd have to rename our show to Two Dudes, Brews, and Mildew. So
That's funny.
Hopefully that's fixed by the next time you come over.
Yeah, fuck it.
But what's been going on with you, man? I had to do my little diatribe there in the beginning, of course. But
Well, you can see behind you that I have built my parts caster telly.
yeah,
And it took a long time, and there's a few more things I got to do to it, but it's playable and sounds immaculate, and I'm very glad that it's finished, and it's my guitar. It is now going to be my child that I fucking, dude, I just love it. It's exactly what I wanted. I had to make a few sacrifices. That's been my, like, project for a while now, learning shit about, like, all the different hardware aspects that go into, like, guitars, like, just like how to set up and connect different wires, and I had to take the jump and, like, use power tools to, like, drill holes in the body and to mount the pick guard. And
I feel like you now have a knowledge of guitars that I don't even have. I've never done nothing like that before.
dude, I don't want it either, to be quite honest with you, because I'm
Is that the last time you'll ever do that?
like I'm so obsessive about shit. Like I just know my personality. Like, when I get into something, I just go, like, 0 to 60 real fast. Like, I go hard. And it's like just that obsessive part of my personality. Everything about building that guitar, I'm like, it needs to be right. Like, it needs to be, like, good parts. Like, even the spots I had to, like, cut corners on, I'm like, fuck. Like, I didn't want to do that.
You're gonna be thinking about those cut corners for months now.
I have a vintage. So it's vintage style. So I have, like, two pickups, the neck and the bridge. They're not, like, humbuckers. It's just the front. Like, it's actually, so I had the, like, DIY kit that I was building and died and stuff, and, like, I'm still going to continue that, but I really wanted, like a good quality instrument, and I didn't want to have to build it straight from scratch, like, all the way through. Like, I'm going to have to, like, coat this thing in, like, polyurethane, like, sand and file, like, the frets. Like, it's gonna take a while. Like, I'm, like, trying to build up an arsenal of, like, gear and, like, tools and hardware to, like, do this shit. But the pickup set that I got was from Fender, and it's a twisted telly set, and the bridge pickup is actually the only part of it because I could not for the life of me get the neck pickup from the twisted telly set to stay mounted to the pick guard, because the pickups mount to the pick guard. In my frustration, accidentally stripped one of the sides the screw goes into, so I had to take the neck pickup that came with the DIY kit, so it's like a shit pickup on the front. But, like, dude, the guitar still sounds good. Like, you wouldn't have known if I wouldn't have told you.
I would have had no idea.
But
it sounds great to me.
But yeah, it's that's, like, one of the spots where I had to cut corners, and it still needs, like, a string tree on, like, the bottom two string, or technically the top strings, the E and the B. And then I accidentally put the control panel on backwards. But other than that, dude, like, not shit. Listen to this J. Cole record that I know we share pretty much the same sentiment on.
What's the name of the album again? The Off
Season?
Yeah.
It's definitely off for sure.
I couldn't help but feel like it was more of a mixtape than... And I think maybe...
That might be the intention of it, but, like, I feel like it was advertised as a album, like a project, like a record.
It was. I think he has another one coming. Like,
I think you're right.
It's supposed to be called like The Fall Off.
Okay.
I think.
Part of me wants like a little bit more of like a gospel sound from him. He needs to capture some of the essence that he had on Born Sinner in like 2014 Forest Hills Drive. Like, I feel like those records had like a almost like a community feel to them. Like, I felt like they were like a little bit more soulful. And like lately, I feel like he just sounds like 21 Savage, just because like the production style that he's been using is just like,
it's a lot more like trap oriented, sort of.
Yeah, I don't get into that.
I feel like his lyrical style changed on this most recent one too. Like, I noticed a lot more like braggy type of bars.
Yeah, I want that like emotional J. Cole too. Like, I want like that self-deprecating. It just hasn't clicked for me lately. And like, I'm not trying to be a J. Cole hater, because like I couldn't tell you how many times I've listened to 2014 Forest Hills Drive. Like, I used to listen to the outro track on repeat because I just loved the horns so fucking much. Like,
I used to listen to that album all the time.
Yeah, like in Born Sinner, like Land of the Snakes, like that's one of my favorite songs. Yeah, I don't know, it just hasn't clicked for me. Like, I would have gave like the off season like a 6 or like a 5, just because like I feel like it's not memorable like in any way.
I feel like after my first listen, I felt like I never had to return to the project ever again.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the replay, like I can't remember like a single instrumental. Trying to think about it. I mean, I've listened to the album itself like 4 or 5 times at least, and there's one song that I know I like, which is Close, and like 100 Mil, but like that's more of like a hype song. But Close I liked a lot, but it was like only because like of a few bars. I felt like that was like one of his most like intense emotional parts on the like the project itself. But then like other than that, and like Interlude, I mean, like when we listened to it actually after the last podcast, because it had released, and you were right, I didn't know he had released a single.
That was one of my favorite songs on the album.
Yeah,
probably.
And it's fucking good, but like I don't know, it just hasn't clicked for me lately. Like, I mean, it's just kind of dumbed down for him, and I just feel like he's just got like a little bit more.
Is it better or worse than KOD?
It's definitely better. And it's definitely better than the other one he did.
For Your Eyes Only?
Yeah. Fuck, I don't know. Actually, now I'm trying to think about it.
I don't remember anything about those two albums, like, at all.
I remember For Your Eyes Only. I remember it like came out during wrestling season my senior year, and I just remember listening to it with like the guys on the wrestling team. It was okay. Like, it was very mid.
Yeah.
Very mid. Like, I just haven't felt like...
That's a perfect way to describe like his career the last 6 or 7 years, maybe. Like,
I don't want to be a hater though, dude. Like, I enjoy the front half of his career so much more, and I just don't know if he'll ever return there.
I guess we'll just have to see.
Yeah, I'm hoping if there's like a real like studio concept album coming, that it's a little bit more fulfilling, because right now he's like on the level of like Big Sean right now, and I hate Big Sean. I do not like Big Sean.
I don't either.
I hate it.
Like, at all.
Nope.
No.
People that
Fuck
like
that.
People that like Big Sean, I'm sorry. Like, there's a couple Big Sean songs that I like, but you ain't never gonna hear me like throw that shit on the aux cord, brother. I mean, if they're on, I'll be like, I can swallow it for a little while, but like other than that, like, get that shit away from me.
That's something that we have in common.
Good. All right. I'm glad. I'm glad that you don't like Big Sean, because that would break my trust.
Change your perception of me.
Yeah.
Has there been anything else good like lately? I mean, like movie or music wise?
I watched Love and Monsters.
Is that a newer movie?
Yeah, I think it came out or was like scheduled to release at the end of last year, or released early this year. And it's like, I think I talked to you about it. It's got Dylan O'Brien in it from like The Maze Runner. Plays like the main character. And
I'm not sure if I know who that is.
If you saw his face, you might know.
Okay.
He's kind of like he's a younger actor. He hasn't really had any like dramatic roles, like serious roles. It's more like action stuff that doesn't require like a lot of deep emotional work. But it was good. I talked to you about it at work, and I cannot remember what you said. You remember the movie that was like everybody had turned into zombies? This zombie like fell in love with this girl.
It was called Warm Bodies.
Yes. It was like on the level of that, which I really liked that movie. I have not seen it in forever, but like I just remember really liking it.
So like quirky comedy with a good premise,
yes.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And this one was like kind of like post-apocalyptic, like nuclear warfare, like turned. They shot a rocket at an asteroid. The nuclear fallout from it like turned all the monsters on and or turned all like the animals and insects on Earth into like giant like kaiju, like, you know, big ass crickets and shit and spiders. And
So it's like playing Fallout New Vegas.
it's
where like
very Fallout heavy.
the cockroaches are
Yes,
20 times their size.
and it's fucking cool. It was a cool movie. Like, that's literally like the only other thing that I've seen besides that and the 2009 Star Trek reboot.
You liked it, didn't you?
Yeah, it reminds me of like 2010. Like, I liked it though. Like, I'm not gonna like say I didn't like it, but it's fucking Star Trek.
I think for me, I've probably seen a few movies lately, but none of them are worth talking about, really. Like, I saw this one called Let Him Go with, like, Kevin Costner and Diane West, which my wife was begging us to watch.
Never heard of it, I don't think.
It just came out, like, a couple weeks ago. It was okay. Like, I had forgotten most about it, like, the day after I saw it. I kind of hate to admit it, but I've been watching a lot of Modern Family lately.
What's the matter with that? There ain't nothing wrong.
Well, I guess there's nothing wrong with it.
My family used to watch it. I never was into it though.
I think maybe I used to have a stigma against it, but like now that I watch it from like front to back,
You feel like you've been indoctrinated.
yeah, like the writing on that show is really clever sometimes.
Yeah,
like
no.
the comedic situations and stuff.
My mom and my stepdad they were all really into it. Like I think my brother used to watch it with them when it like was airing on TV. Like when it first got big, I remember just being like not into it. I just didn't like it. I just didn't give energy to it. But I know it's like hasn't it won a bunch of Emmys? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
similar to The Office in a way, like slice of life, like awkward humor.
Yeah, and they like look at the camera sometimes and like do little mini interviews. Like it's never really mention the fact that they're like on a TV show or something,
being recorded and shit.
Like I don't understand why they have these interviews, but like it's never touched on.
Like The Office.
Yeah. So
the formula's probably similar in a way.
I've been enjoying it. So yeah. Other than that, I mean,
Birdman. That's what we've been watching.
Birdman. Yeah.
Or the unexpected virtue of ignorance.
Yeah. Well, before we hop in,
okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I just tried this beer.
What are we drinking today?
What are we drinking? This is your pick. I just had a Stella Artois because it was slightly advertised in the film.
Yeah, sorta.
They fucking got me, bro. I bought it.
I picked up this beer randomly, so I've never had it before. It's called Luminous Haze by Lock 27 Brewing, and apparently this company is out of Dayton, Ohio. I've never heard of them. It's okay. I'm not sure if I like it that much. Really.
It's really smooth.
Yeah, it doesn't have enough bite to it.
Really, I kind of like that about it.
Really?
When I drink an IPA, sometimes I feel like when it's so fucking bitter, where I feel like I can't like catch the saliva in my mouth, like it just starts destroying my throat.
It's not as dry as some of the other ones that we've tried on the show.
It's like definitely hazy though. It's kind of juicy though. Like it's pretty smooth. Like I kind of like it a lot.
The can says it has flavors of like melon and strawberry.
I'm getting definitely the strawberry,
which I don't think is really like a prominent flavor in IPAs.
No,
usually.
That's what I noticed. Like right off the bat, like tastes like strawberries.
When I saw that on the can, I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll try this."
Oh, dude, it's got that summertime labeling type bullshit, but it's definitely I feel like the prominent flavor besides bitterness is strawberry for sure. It's good though.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I like it. I might actually drink this again sometime because I've had an IPA in forever. Like we both talked about this, but we haven't really drank an IPA on the show in a while. Been a lot of like brown ales and like stout and like I've been on like a kick of like fruity and like sour beers, and then like we've been doing Belgian and but like I haven't had like an IPA in forever. We kind of just burn ourselves out on them for a while because that's like all we were drinking. We're waiting on that Star Crusher to come back to really kick it back in season.
That's a primo fucking summer beer.
We'll be buying cans of that shit, dude. I promise you that. Like we'll buy 6 packs of that shit.
We'll be tore up after 2 beers because it's 9%.
It's the best beer.
Oh my god, it is definitely one of the best.
You were like, you hyped this shit up so much when we went, and I'm like, all right, like okay, and I'm like, damn, this man's right. But
I didn't want to let you down.
Let's talk about Birdman.
Okay, yeah. So Birdman, I've been begging you to watch this movie for years
I know you have.
now.
I own this movie. I own it. I have it on Blu-ray. I've owned it for years. I've yet to watch it because I never throw a movie in like a DVD or Blu-ray player ever. And now that I've watched it, I'm like, fuck. Like I've been missing out on this for a while. Right off the bat, I just want to say this movie reminded me of Whiplash so much. Like
Came out the same year too.
The Obsessed Artist, like that, it reminded me of Whiplash, Black Swan,
I got that too. Mm-hmm.
and those might be the two predominant ones. I'm sure there's another one I thought of. I didn't take notes, so I'm just pulling out of my ass.
The only fucking podcast I took notes on was Jack and Jill.
Fucking Christ, what a waste.
I know. What a waste of like 0.000 something megabytes on my laptop.
Shit. I don't know where to begin. Let me just preface that I couldn't tell throughout the whole movie if he had powers or not. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it was a part of the film I was trying to figure out the whole fucking time.
So you were like hung up on it the whole time that you were watching?
Yeah, because there's like hints in the movie. He's got like some sort of supernatural powers, but it's also like he's so dissociative and crazy. And it's like I can't tell if he's imagining these things or is this shit actually happening? And like it's never addressed by another character or even him. It's like Birdman, his in his head voice, and then there's like Riggin. And it's like no one ever just says like, "Hey man, why the fuck are you floating?" Or, you know what I mean? Like just shit like that. But it's also like hinted at that like he's in some weird dissociative state because like people are bringing him out.
The movie does things that makes you believe that either way could be true.
Exactly. I did not like that. I was so intrigued by it. And I just couldn't tell. I mean, obviously in the end, I'm like,
I think my personal like takeaway from it is that he doesn't have powers.
Yes.
But it's like an ego-driven thing. Like he's kind of like he's a little like self-absorbed
He's
in
a
this
dick.
movie. Are there any likable characters in this movie, really?
Zach Galifanakis, maybe, his character. But
At points, maybe.
But like, no.
Because like Regan is like a totally self-absorbed asshole, but I am like totally behind him the whole time because it feels like he's got a lot of shit going on. I don't know. Should we talk about the premise of the movie?
Yeah,
before
go for it.
Hopping into it?
Yeah, go for it.
So Michael Keaton plays Regan Thompson. He used to be known for playing a superhero 20 years ago. He like is kind of washed up and not really like hasn't done anything relevant for a while. So he decides to put on a reimagining of it's
like a classic play. It's
something Carter.
Raymond Carter.
Raymond Carter. He's doing like a play on Broadway, and obviously he's way out of his element because he's never done Broadway before. So he is like trying to juggle the play, like the finances, critics, and his
personal
life with his like wife and daughter.
His daughter's his assistant. Like the show hasn't like gone on yet. It's like just in like previews, like where like critics and like people that get like half off tickets go to like view the play before it is released to the general audience and stuff for performances. Let me just say I've been to Broadway. It's fucking magical.
Really? I went to New York a year ago, and my wife went to a play, but I did not.
See,
I went bar hopping by myself.
well, didn't the work?
It was it was a work thing. I wasn't able to go with her. Like she had all expenses paid and all that.
I went and saw Annie, and it had Jane Lynch in it. She plays like the mother of like the orphans or whatever.
Oh, she was there like in person. When
No,
you saw
she was in the production.
That's
So it was really
sweet.
fucking cool. Yeah. And like that was like right after like the hype of like Glee and stuff, like when I went and saw it. So it was like pretty cool. And I used to work, I told you this earlier. When I was in middle school, I used to work at the auditorium. I used to work the soundboard. I had no fucking clue what I was doing, but like I've helped like
They just gave jobs to all the little kids.
yeah. Well, it was like just a handful of kids, like some from high school, and then like I think maybe I was a freshman. But I was doing like middle school productions. That's it. Yeah, we got to help set up like the sets and stuff, like build and like construct stuff for like the plays and stuff. And that was like really, I like know stuff about like, you know, working stage and stuff, and like so like watching this movie, I like kind of like got a lot of like nostalgia from it. Yeah, because like all the ropes that hold up all the curtains and shit, like all the pulleys and levers, like this shit's fucking cool. Like the stage is fucking dope. Yeah. But like I could never be like in a play or like a musical. But like I liked watching them.
I could never act.
Never.
Like, no fucking way.
I can be very serious. Like I could never bring it out. I like plays and musicals though. Like I've seen a couple, and I like going. So I enjoyed like that aspect of it. Watching the characters interplay, literally like just walking on the set and then like start acting. I'm like, like how they like pull that out.
It's like they just like flip a switch or something.
Also, like watching through the eyes of a film, watching the actors themselves juggle between playing a character and then the character playing a character was very interesting. Like I loved that.
I think most of my favorite scenes in this movie are when they're like on stage.
Yeah, and I like seeing, because you're in their perspective, you're not like an audience member, so you can like see like the dialogue and the banter of the characters in between being in character, and like how it's just so natural for them, and like that, like props to the actors being able to be like switch between a real fucking person in this world, and then you're going to switch into character in certain spots. There's like subtle shifts, even like when Edward Norton plays Edward Norton, and watching him and Michael Keaton's character Regan work out the script and stuff, and like hop like in between dialogue, and like it's like kind of hard to like at first to get in the groove of things, to like watch them like work that out, because like, you can't tell if they're still acting, or you can't tell if like their characters are just having dialogue. Like
they're going from like reading the script to like giving constructive criticism about the script and stuff. That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie right there. The first time that, you know, Mike Shiner and Regan Thompson meet.
That's right.
I don't know if you'll agree with this or not, but I think Edward Norton steals the fucking show,
dude,
in this movie.
So fucking good. I love the fact that his character, how do I describe it? He's also a self-absorbed asshole.
Like in real life.
Yes. Well, yeah. Yeah, the rumor has it that he's an extremely hard person to work with, which this probably was an easy role for him to play. Maybe not. I
think that was an intentional casting choice. Well, there's a lot of like meta stuff in this movie, sort of.
Well, because Michael Keaton.
Yeah, like this movie is basically about him in a way.
Well, Michael Keaton Batman. Like Michael Keaton Batman was the biggest Batman before like Christian Bale. I feel like he was regarded as the best Batman in like our generation. I feel like Christian Bale is one of them. Like trying to explain this shit to Elizabeth, I'm like, yeah, Michael Keaton was Batman. She's like, he's not Batman. That's That's that one guy. And I'm like, I'm gonna freak the fuck out. Like
no, the Tim Burton Batman.
I'm like the Batman that your parents like, you know what I mean? It's funny because the movie acts like Michael Keaton doesn't exist in this world anyway, because like there's even like
the references to
like
actors.
Avengers and shit. Yeah, like shit like that.
I can't tell, like, is the movie trying to make a certain commentary about, like, all the good actors are getting snatched up to play these, like, big budget, $200 million superhero films? Because
now
he's like, can we get Michael Fassbender? And he's like, he's doing the prequel to the X-Men prequel or something.
Yeah, just like I have a real problem with Marvel movies and stuff, and, like, even Star Wars. It's tough because, like, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, I don't enjoy them. Because I do. Like,
some of them are really good.
No, like, for real, like, I'm not going to sit here and try to bash the Marvel movies. Like, no, they are what they are. And, like, they're really fun. And, like, it's really... And, like, same with Star Wars. Like, they're really fun. But the thing is, like, what's happening is prostitution of, like, comic books into, like, film. I was thinking about this in the shower the other day. I'm like, these are literally $1 million comic books just rendered into film format. It's all IP and product merchandise. It's like a whole money grab system. I love the Marvel movies, but like Star Wars, like they're trying to capture the essence of like what the originals were. Feels like they're fucking pimping out the IP for money.
It's like a really cynical, like corporate machine kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Like, I mean,
at least they do the Marvel movies like well for the most part. I don't like all of them, but I mean, some of them are pretty good.
I feel like ever since like the Infinity War type saga has ended, like I kind of want it to be over.
Like where does it even go after that?
Like I know but like here's the thing, they're just gonna like adapt more fucking comic book stories and work that into the film franchise. And I'm like, fuck, man, like in 20 years from now, how many Marvel movies are there gonna be? You know? Do you know what I'm saying? Like.
They'll keep making them
as long as people keep watching
until they stop making money. Yeah.
I don't know. Some of the magic has kind of left in a way. I think the film kind of comments on that in a way. Like true fucking art is kind of like in Broadway. Like people have to go out and perform every night. And like now it's all like Marvel movies and like Star Wars and like it's just like production companies and like special effects over like subpar plot points and mediocre dialogue. It's not really trying to like grab like at the heartstrings. Like, I mean, you care about like the characters and stuff because like there's been so many fucking movies that where they can develop out these storylines and stuff. But now it's like they can't do that like within 2 hours. They have to make 7 movies. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a comment on like how like film and like real art is dying. And like I know Scorsese, all these like big directors like Tarantino, they've had like their comments on shit like that. It's not going away. It's just that shit steals the limelight a little bit from like for like the casual film goer.
There's like references to like they never mention Batman in this movie or anything, but like they mention George Clooney at one point, who played the Batman that replaced Michael Keaton. You know, Robert Downey Jr. is mentioned on like a TV ad at one point where they're like, it's the $1 billion Iron Man franchise.
Let's talk about what's his name that plays Hawkeye.
Jeremy
Renner, yeah.
And Zach Galifanakis goes, who?
Yeah. Jeremy Renner's he's been in quite a bit. I feel like I watched him in a movie recently outside of his Hawkeye.
He was in American Hustle, which like, I don't know if you remember that movie, but it was like a big Oscar like hype kind of movie when it came out.
American Hustle, that had Christian Bale in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what okay. I was thinking of that and
he was in
Ryan Reynolds and Russell Crowe. What's that movie that you love?
The Nice Guys.
The Nice Guys. I was going to say the other guys. I'm like, that's Kevin Hart and Will Ferrell. I'm like, that ain't fucking right.
Bro, Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell.
Oh, sorry. They're all the same. To me.
You know, I don't mind that movie.
No, that movie's
the
okay.
other guys.
That's another thing too, like shit comedies. That's another topic we could get on, but it's same premise, like same people, same role every time. Fast and Furious 9.
Getting back to the meta thing, obviously there's like meta commentary on Michael Keaton's career. Edward Norton kind of touched on that too, where like he comes in to play the true artist, like the self-absorbed guy, like, and he's only real on stage.
Yes.
And all that. The blonde character, played by Naomi Watts, I think.
Yeah.
Like Leslie or something like that. I forgot to mention, but Michael Keaton uses his powers to knock down a light rig and injure one of the actors. So he's replaced by Edward Norton.
Yes, and that's the other thing. I'm like,
how did that happen?
How does that shit happen? Does he have fucking powers or not?
Or did he have somebody like behind the scenes like rig the light like Hitman style?
I feel like if I watched it twice, I would have came back to that and been like, okay, so maybe someone else is in on this and that wasn't shown to us. Fuck, I don't know though. A part of me still thinks that he has powers.
I'll try and debunk that a little bit as we go forward.
Okay.
But there are times where, I mean, that's the biggest example where I think he might have powers. Edward Norton's character, they make a comment like, yeah, we can get Mike Shiner. Like, I thought he was doing this thing. And they say, well, he quit or he got fired. You know, sometimes with Mike, it's like both. In real life, Edward Norton, who also played a superhero,
played the Hulk.
He played Incredible Hulk.
Fuck, you're right.
And he got fired from, you know, that's why Mark Ruffalo replaced him, because he asked for more money. He tried to take writing credit for the movie when he, like, changed some lines, which happens in this movie with his character.
Fuck, you're right.
There's a lot of meta shit going on in this movie, like little references here and there that...
Comments on reality type deal.
And they do that, and to add another fucking layer of confusion, the play that they're doing has parallels to the characters in the movie. Did you notice that?
Yeah, like Reagan's character is like seeks love and is denied it.
He wants like true acceptance. There's like the subplot where I can't remember the actress's name, the dark-haired woman.
The brunette. They must be like sleeping together or like might be a couple, but like it's never really like expanded upon, almost like they've been sleeping together but like nothing serious, like not a relationship. And like she thinks she's pregnant. She's denied love from him, and like her character in the play talks about like having a child, or like it's weird in like the greatest way, like because everything's so intertwined and like reflective of characters, like so you're saying like in real life, like in the meta way, and then like their characters in the film reflect the characters that they play on stage, which is then like kind of reflected in their life.
It's metaception, dude.
Fuck, is this a Christopher Nolan movie?
There's other instances too, but like I'm not sure if we can like hit all of them. One that I want to point out is in the play, Regan's love interest is like cheating on him with Mike Shiner.
Yes.
And then in real life, his like daughter starts to sleep with Mike Shiner. One of the characters makes a comment about, yeah, he's a guy that tried to commit suicide, but he couldn't get the job done. and then like that's kind of like a
Wow.
deal with Regan too.
Shit.
There's a lot of that in this movie, and I think that's why it's worth watching multiple times. You know what I mean?
Fucking Christ, dude.
And that'll play into the ending too, because there's like still things that are unclear with the failed suicide thing.
Holy shit.
They make a comment during the play where they're talking about the suicidal guy, that he lost his sense of sight after he tried to commit suicide.
Like blew part of his face off.
Mm-hmm. When Michael Keaton actually does it, he loses his sense of smell.
Oh.
So there's a lot of layers in this movie.
Jesus Christ, why didn't that click with me?
Dude, that's stuff I didn't catch till like the third or fourth watch.
Shit, bro. God, you just blew my fucking mind, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Also, can I comment that his nose looks like a fucking beak?
Yeah.
Like, I think that was so hilarious. I'm like, yes.
Because he can't shake the Birdman
thing. He can't shake the Birdman, dude. It's fucking great. You just blew my fucking mind. That just gave me the drug that I, like we were talking about earlier. Like the film and music drug that you get when shit just like hits you. Fuck. Mm-hmm.
There's a scene in the movie that I originally did not like at all, because I thought it led nowhere. And it's the scene where the blonde and the brown-haired girl have a random, like, lesbian scene.
Yeah. Is that something reflected in the play?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Naomi Watts was in this movie called Mulholland Drive, which is, like, directed by David Lynch, if you know who that is.
Yeah. Crazy.
And apparently that movie has, like, her in a lesbian scene. So, like, maybe that was just, like, a reference to that. Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't play into the plot of the movie, though.
I think character that I liked a lot was Emma Stone's character. Her like whole thing is that she's like had recently been to rehab, and like so she's like kind of under the wing of her dad, like working as her assistant, or working as his assistant. I just liked what she brought to the table as far as like plot goes, because one of my favorite scenes is like where like she like is high, I guess, or something, or like after a play, or like after one of the production previews or whatever, and she's like, I couldn't figure out what she was doing until later, which was like the toilet paper, like writing the on that scroll of like
the
paper.
Dots of like each dot represents 10,000 years of life on Earth or something,
or like the span of the universe.
Yeah,
and then like one sheet is how long we've been here, which was like kind of like trying to dissolve Regan's his ego. Mm-hmm. I just liked that a lot because I mean I do this shit all the time. Like I'm super. Think about this for a second. Like we're like a speck on a speck, and like that speck has only been around for like a minute, and that minute is gonna be over in like a million years from now. And it's just gonna keep going. Like that's my fucking personality for you in a nutshell. But I just like I liked that scene a lot because I enjoyed like her like groundedness, and like it's almost like kind of pessimistic but like realistic in a way, because she's like dissolving Regan's character, his like self-obsession, and like this search for like meaning and like admiration, and like to be something that he's not. Even in that scene, like where
she gives a great dialogue,
dude, that like monologue she gives, like I'm like that shit like hit me hard. The realest fucking shit that gets said throughout the movie, in my opinion, like because her character isn't like self-absorbed, Edward Norton and Michael Keaton's characters. Mm-hmm. So like she like keeps it real. That scene specifically is one of my favorites. And then when Michael Keaton confronts the critic in the bar, that shit, these two scenes of like, no, I'm gonna lay down the fucking truth for you. Like that shit, I like it.
The writing in this movie is really fucking good.
It's so believable. There's some parts where like Edward Norton's character is like real fucking cheesy artistry he's trying to achieve. Like especially like his flirtation with Emma Stone, you know, the daughter. What's her name? Is it Samantha? Is that right?
Yeah,
okay.
Sam.
All the characters work so fucking well together. Like it's so like I bought into it. Like no questions asked. Except for like the dissociative, like psychopathic, ego-obsessed Birdman parts, but like other than that, dude, like, and I enjoyed those parts, but like that.
But it wasn't like reality.
I wasn't like, yeah, that's happening. Like, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna pull a you right now and play devil's advocate because I don't have any like negatives. Honest to God, I don't. Piss break.
So before I had to run to the bathroom really fast, you were talking about there were small nitpicks about the movie that you had, but you said they didn't affect like your overall enjoyment.
There was
you mentioned the special effects.
So a small aspect that takes up like less than 10 minutes of the movie, But I couldn't help but think of, here's another parallel. It's not like some big Marvel production where like they need to nail like these superhero special effects. So him flying, there was a couple, like when he flies underneath,
Like when he's like in the tunnel.
yeah, there his body starts to warp a little bit.
Does it?
The perspective is a little off, and like a couple like small seconds to where he's flying, his proportions get warped ever so slightly, and I'm like I caught it for a second. And also like it kind of works in its favor, but like he starts getting in that real dissociative state where like Birdman is like talking, since like the FOV, like the field of view is so wide, there's like this real weird distortion on the world around him. I mean, it works though. I mean, because it's like it's such a dissociative state, but also like, is it? But yes, of course. But like,
Yeah.
but like, I'm like, does he have powers or does he not have powers? But like in this spot where it became more clear to me, like, no, he doesn't have powers because he like starts flying down to like the
street
theater,
level.
yeah, and like no one acknowledging that.
No.
And then the taxi driver gets out and is like, this guy didn't pay me. And so like I think that was like saying, no, he doesn't have fucking powers. And like the fact that like he like flew to the top of the building and this guy was like, hey man, are you all right? Like the world would know if he had powers. You know what I mean?
It's New York City.
Yeah.
And it's 2014. So, I mean, like everybody catches him running through Times Square in his underwear on film. Like you would think they would catch a man flying
Exactly.
like on camera.
So it's like I knew that he didn't have powers, but the ending fucking fucked with me a little bit, but we'll get to that.
Oh yeah, it still fucks with me. I've seen this movie like 5 times.
I can't quite nail it, but that small like visual effects kind of like fucked with me a little bit, like where I was like, I don't really like that. But other than that, like that's like my only like negative, I guess. I mean, it's not really even that important. I didn't know the whole time if he had powers, and then like there's that scene where like he's coming back down, flying down the show, where like he has that like weird shift in like personality, where like he starts to embrace the crazy.
He puts on the best performance of his career.
Yes, that shit, and then where he throws around all the shit. I guess like
his rehearsal room.
I was gonna say like I guess he lives there. I guess like they live there because it looks like he sleeps.
I mean, it never like shows anybody go home.
But it's because like the movie is cut
like one continuous shot, which we haven't mentioned yet.
No,
but
on top of that, like each scene has to take place one after the other in the same exact spot in reality. Oh, dude, there's a lot to this fucking movie. Holy shit. So like there's that aspect of it too. So like you don't really get to see like their personal lives outside of the stage. It, like works to the movie's favor of like a ton, because like it keeps you in like this zone of like the focus is the show and like these characters rather than like trying to figure out whatever the fuck they're going through at home. But like also the home aspect is brought to the state.
Like they all have like their personal shit that they bring to work.
Like his ex-wife stops in, his daughter works, like Riggins' character and the brunette, I can't remember her fucking name. They're sleeping together, and then like Mike and Emma, and then Mike and then Naomi Watts' character.
Leslie, I think.
Yeah, Leslie, sorry. That shit is intertwined within the stage. So like it works like in that aspect.
Yeah.
Right?
The movie never goes like that far away from the theater.
Mm-hmm.
I think the farthest, I mean, like you have like the flying sequence, which like you don't even know if it ever even happened or not.
Exactly.
Which, I mean, I don't think it did. I think the farthest that you get from the St. James Theater besides that is when Keaton accidentally snags his robe in
Times Square.
And then he has to like, walk through Times Square in his underwear.
Which happened. Like Times Square, they didn't have to shut down Times Square for this.
Oh, no. I'm sure they just took a handheld camera and like...
And had extras, yes.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I mean, you've mentioned this to me before. Before I even seen this movie, I knew of like this sequence of like where he's running through Times Square, and you were like, yeah, that shit just like happened. Like, they just did that.
I think it was shot twice. It was done that way so it wouldn't attract attention from like tourists and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I think every other scene in this movie was probably filmed 15 to 20 times.
Huh.
If you think about it, there's some long takes in this movie.
The cuts have to happen in between,
like weird transitions,
yes.
Like from like going around a corner. Like some of the cuts, and we haven't really talked about cinematography yet or anything. Were there times where you could tell when there was a cut?
Yeah, of course. Like
There were some that were obvious, and then some that probably neither of us caught. I think
the obvious ones were like when time would like all of a sudden go from day to night, and you could tell. And then like obviously like oh, there's a cut here, and I knew there was a cut in the hallway after like one of the previews. I think it was like one of the second or third performance for the preview, and they're in the hallway, and you can hear. This is one of my favorite aspects of the film right here is like you've already been shown like what it's like when they like bow and clap, and like you can hear the dialogue, and then like the curtain call or whatever you call it, like where they fucking bow and shit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then like you can hear those same lines that you saw earlier repeated, hear that again, applause and stuff, and then like but you're hearing it from deep like in the back parts of the building. So like I knew I'm like, oh, there's a cut here, and then like characters walk on screen and shit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I know there's a cut here, day and night, and then it's usually like characters will like have dialogue with another, and then they'll start walking away, and then you get another character walk right on your screen, and then it starts following them. Like if it's from like Edward Norton to Michael Keaton to, you know what I mean?
Well, I don't know if there's cuts right there.
Oh like, shit! During so yeah, scenes. Maybe you're right.
Because like I was reading about this, and like they would do like scenes where the filming is continuously shot for like 10 minutes, and like Emma Stone made a comment in an interview where like she ruined a 6 to 7 minute cut of a scene on accident because she walked around a corner too quickly. So like you do have scenes where like people have a conversation, one person walks away, a door opens, somebody else comes in, the camera follows them down the hallway talking. I think a lot of that stuff is continuous.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, yeah.
And it gives like, I mean, the movie is about a play, but it kind of gives the movie itself a play-like kind of aesthetic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's people acting for 10 minutes at a time, or whatever.
And then walk away, and then another character's.
And it's like everything has to be timed precisely, and
like when someone enters and walks off stage, changing of scenes.
I can't even imagine how
fucking
much.
Christ, dude.
I can't imagine how fucking hard it was to like put it all together.
Huh. That's another aspect of the film that like ties in within itself. Metaception, bro. Damn, dude. I need to watch this movie at least 3 more times. Like
it's rewarding.
I'm glad we have this conversation because like it's opening my eyes a little bit more. Like I knew I liked the film, but like the more we're talking about it, I'm like, holy shit. Same thing with Whiplash. When I watched it for the first time, I was like, huh, that was really fucking good. Watched it again, I was like, fuck, this movie's great. You watch it a couple more times, you're like, this is a masterpiece. You know what I mean?
I've only seen Whiplash one time. I need to go back and watch it again because I do love that movie.
There are movies that you adore and you don't want to wear them out sometimes, man.
I think I watched Birdman for the first time in 2014 when it came out, and I waited 5 years before I watched it again. So like 2019, I guess. But I've watched it 3 times in 2021 so far.
Probably watched it, recommended it, watched it twice.
Yep.
My movie that I don't want to wear out, I'm sure I've said it before, is Blade Runner 2049. I watched it the year... No, I didn't watch it the year it came out. I watched it a couple years ago, though. I think it had been out for like a year. And then I watched...
to see it. I still have your DVD, my
You haven't seen the first one, have you?
No.
We'll have to watch them sometime. Blade Runner, the first one has to come first. Like, they're good. It's a good sequel. Like, it stands out really well on its own. But you need to see the first one to really, like... I feel like the first one, like, gives you the world building, and the second one, like, really hones in on,
That's
like...
what I've heard.
It really, like, hones in on, like, the emotional... Like, drive home, like, all... Like, the themes of the film from the first film. It, like, drives them home and, like, elevates them. We'll watch them one of these days.
I need to watch that so bad.
They're coming. Don't worry.
I know 2049 is, like, a favorite among many people.
It's
2014... Well, the movie didn't come out.
I think it came out in 17. 2049 came out. I think it's 2017.
I was gonna say 2014 was a really good year for movies because like this and Whiplash came out that year.
I'm sure there was other great Oscar nominations.
I think Foxcatcher came out that year too. Yeah, that was like one of the best years for movies that I in recent memory.
When did Moonlight come out? Do you know? Was that like 2018 or 2017?
I don't know. You've seen it, right?
Yeah. It's good.
I don't remember.
It's not one of my favorites.
I don't remember anything about it.
That and like La La Land. I like La La Land, but it's a musical, and I know you probably don't like those.
I've seen the first half of La La Land.
That would be like a double feature. Me and Elizabeth talk about that shit all the time. Like, we need to do a movie that like has like a musical elements to it. Which, oh fuck, we gotta get into that right now. Here we go. Here's the next tangent for you.
This
soundtrack, dude. Let me just say that me and Elizabeth tried to watch this together, and on Saturday, we got 30 minutes into it, and she fell asleep. And she got the second dose of the vaccine that day, and then we worked on that pool. Put in a new in-ground pool for like 5
So you guys had a big day.
We were tired, and I was down to watch it. Like, I was ready, but she was like falling asleep, and she was like getting uncomfortable and like kept kicking me and like shifting on the bed and like kind of ruined my experience a little bit. So I was like, I'm just gonna go. But she said, the drums are giving me anxiety. And I was like, I like it. I literally said, I know, I like it. Also, some of the characters, dude, it felt like at times when the drums were really present, like it felt like they were specifically Edward Norton. It felt like he was
performing to the drums.
He felt like he was fucking rapping like bars, and I'm like, yes, I like this. I'm like, this may be unintentional, but I like it.
I feel like there were times where like the drums interacted with the scenes for sure. Because like there's one, I can't remember exactly,
like the street performers and stuff.
Well, yeah, they do bring like they literally show you somebody playing the soundtrack at certain points. But like there's one scene where Michael Keaton's walking down a hallway and he's like pissed off and he like hits the wall at the exact same time as like a cymbal crash or something.
Yes.
Or like there's a time lapse where they're looking at a skyscraper and like all the lights are shutting off because like it's about to be daytime and like the drums are like
rolling down or something.
It's like the lights turn off to the rhythm of the drums. Like
damn, dude, I need to watch this film again. Fuck.
The first fucking sound you hear in this movie is somebody sitting down and picking up drumsticks.
Yeah, like the opening scene, or the opening credits. Like, how do you describe that? Like the fucking like when they hear the title shot.
Yeah, I guess it's the opening credits. Yeah.
Yeah, I love how like the drums bring in the letters. Build up the sentences and stuff, and like the title. I'm not gonna say like I have some sort of magical power where I can predict the future, but I knew when that shit happened in the beginning, I'm like, I'm gonna like this.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm like, give me that.
It kind of reminded me of Isle of Dogs that we just watched. Because remember how the intro of that movie was like real drum centric? Yeah. I got the same kind of vibe from this.
Just less Japanese, more exactly. New York City jazz.
The way this movie like implements the soundtrack is really creative. I mean, like you mentioned, there's like points where they walk on the street and they like, if you've ever been to New York City, there's like people playing instruments on like the, like in Times Square. So they walk by people like playing drums and stuff, and it like matches up with the, the soundtrack that's playing. There's one part where he's in the bar. It's after he tells off the critic, and like you hear these like piano notes, and then he leaves the bar, and like the piano keeps playing even though he's not in the bar anymore. And you hear this, like, it sounds like a song where, like, a dude is, like, doing a speech over it.
Yes, I liked...
And,
Go
like,
ahead.
It sounds like a song, like a pre-recorded song, until he walks by a guy on the street, and it's just a guy, like, acting, or, like, he's trying to give, like, a performance for Michael Keaton.
And the other thing is like, it's really threw me off because he's, like, going into that liquor store to get like a bottle of whiskey after like he tells off that critic and immediately starts drinking it, and then he's like, I'm trying to give you range, was that too much? And I'm like, and even Michael Keaton is like befuddled, like what the fuck is going on here? And
like that guy was given a pretty good
dude. I was like, damn, this guy's going in. Like I couldn't tell if like he was a crackhead, like just like on the street.
I thought it was a homeless man, like
for sure,
or like doing like his like religious kind of.
We've talked about this shit before. I don't know if it's been on record, but like our job, sometimes we run into like crackheads at gas stations, just giving like their speech to the world, and it's like, all right, like
damnation,
yeah, shit like that. Yeah, like I've had a dude like while I'm pumping gas, just be like. Yeah, man, I don't know, man. Like, this shit, like, they're coming for us all, man. Like, I'm just like, holy fuck, dude. Like, I'm just...
don't look him in the eyes. Just keep pumping gas.
I remember getting in my car and then, like, looking at him and just being like, all right, man. Like, I remember being, just shaking my head like, yeah, you go, man. Like, him giving me the eye. Dude, people are crazy.
So the movie tries to make sense out of the soundtrack shit, but there's one scene after he has like his last mental breakdown, like it's after the Birdman appears, and he's walking to do the last scene.
Strings. Is what you're talking about?
Well, there's a lot of classical strings in this movie.
Well, I was gonna say before you go. Sorry.
Okay,
Let me
go
squeeze,
ahead.
let me squeeze this in here. He says, cue music or like cue strings or like.
Oh, when he's standing in the building.
Yeah, like
That was weird.
shit like that, like where, and then he's like,
It's
cut the
interrupted.
music, and then like when he walks back into the building and shit, like when he's done having his flight fucking simulation, shit like that. That's what I was gonna say. That's how the soundtrack is implemented. Fourth wall.
It's
with the
always
characters.
creative in a way.
But go ahead with
I like how like the movie tries to make sense of the soundtrack the whole time. Like you're always hearing sounds that like are realistic or like, they show the drummer playing on the street or whatever. But after he's at his lowest point and he's going to the stage to like shoot himself in the face, he walks by like the room where him and Ed Norton had the fight earlier.
and there's a drummer,
And there's
right?
just a fucking drummer set up. And like I was thinking, okay, like the movie's taking the piss now. They're like, yeah, there's a drummer just fucking sitting backstage. Like
I think
I felt like it was a joke or something.
I don't know if I think it's like a visual joke, and also I think it ties into his dissociative state.
That's what I was thinking.
It was like after the sequence of like him being like cut the strings. It's like his visual mental representation of things, like along with like the Birdman, him like floating shit. I think that was a tie-in to the soundtrack, but also like playing on the fact that this dude's fucking out of his mind in a way. Which like, I mean, it worked. I mean, it wasn't
I got a kick out of that.
like it wasn't, yes, it was out of place, but it wasn't out of place for the movie. Like I wasn't like.
We had just seen military people on the street and like a robotic vulture
Yeah.
5 minutes prior.
Well,
so-
I'm like, that fucking works. I'll drink the Kool-Aid, man.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's okay. What else have we not touched on? We've talked about soundtrack. We've talked about camera. Another thing with the camera is like how I said like the field of view and like I'm not a camera guy and I wish I knew a little bit more. Like I said, like the field of view, like it's not like as harsh as like a bubble lens like on a skate video, but there's like
the fisheye.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a slight intimate warp. Having the characters take up the majority of the shot, it's not like warped heavily. Like it's not like the background is warping or anything, but
Like the focus
it's
has
so
changed.
yeah, it's so wide, I guess, like from like the center. There has to be something going on because it's not just like a flat lens. Because like the focus is wide on the actual scenes itself. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Hard to describe without having the technical knowledge of it. But I like how the camera work feels so personal. Obviously, it like works in favor for like the way the movie is shot. It's kind of like La La Land. I don't know if you've seen La La Land.
Only the first half, like a long time ago.
La La Land is a little bit more open, and like the characters aren't being followed by the camera. It's kind of like that though. Like where the film is structured like a play, this movie is more centered on you're always following a character. The shot is always following like the movement of a character within a scene, and then that goes from scene to scene, and then broken by the set, and then you continue that movement. I just like
That makes sense to me.
it's really intimate. Like I like it a lot. Like the movement is really well done. I have a movie coming up. That's not my suggestion, but I have a movie coming up in the future where like movement is going to be real heavy, and I'm excited. We have to watch it though, so don't. It's coming.
It's not Children of Men, is it?
Nah. It's
It's a movie I want to see eventually.
You have no idea. I'm always
Well,
keeping.
surprise me.
I'm trying to keep you on your toes always.
Clearly, I'm not keeping you on your toes enough. You've guessed like multiple of my recommendations.
I'm a hairy wizard.
Can we talk about some of the... Well, there's like some transitions or like shots that I really enjoyed a whole lot. The scene where Regan Thompson finds Samantha in that weird room downstairs. She's like smoking weed and he gets mad at her and like he hits the joint a few times.
I like that part. I was like, that's hilarious. He like burns the tips of his fingers. I think it's funny.
He walks out of the room and he looks to his right down the hallway, and there's like this like bluish sheen on the hallway, and it immediately transitions, like it just the camera moves, and then they're on stage all of a sudden.
That's a weird like dreamy sequence.
That was so smooth.
There's like fogs up the hallway and shit too.
Creative use of the one shot take thing. And then there's the scene where Edward Norton and Sam are like making out above the stage, like on that like metal grating, and the camera like moves over them, like
onto the
like, and it like goes over onto the stage, but like Edward Norton is on stage now, so there's like a time lapse, but it feels like
it
only
just
seconds have elapsed between the two scenes.
And while they're like making out and shit, like you hear dialogue as well. Like that shit's introduced. And then like all of a sudden you're hearing the play. And like that's just so clever.
Yeah.
Fuck, I almost fucking forgot about that. It takes a second for your brain to register at spots like, oh, well, like, we're in a different, you know what I mean?
Like, this could be like hours later for all I know.
Or days even.
Yeah.
You're like thinking about it. And like you know when a transition's coming, but like all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm here, like, and you're in it.
You don't have enough time to think about it, like when you're like the viewer.
When like normal films are cut very standard way, like like new scene. When that one shot take happens, 1917, that was like most recent movies that did like the one shot take with like the war film, World War One.
Have you seen it?
I've seen a little bit of it. I haven't seen a lot of it. This movie's definitely more like artsy and like dramatic. So like they have a little bit more creative liberty when it comes to like changing the shots. But like in that movie, it's like very action heavy and like following like two characters the whole time kind of thing. So like this movie can have like a dreamy quality to it.
There's one more transition I want to talk about, and it leads to a scene that I also want to discuss a little bit. It's where he goes to his rehearsal dressing room. Sam had like left him some flowers on like the countertop, and it says like, I couldn't find what you wanted or whatever, like on the note on the flowers. So he uses his powers to like knock the vase into the wall, and the camera like pulls to the wall real quick, and then it like backs out, and then all of a sudden it's like a new scene in the same room where like he's being interviewed by all these people.
Birdman 4? You do Birdman 4?
That transition is so fucking good. And the scene that like follows it, yes, with the Chinese reporter and like the translator. Is this scene like a commentary on the way that like opinion spread online?
I think so, because he also comments about like viral videos and stuff at times, like
a few times in the movie, and he goes viral on accident.
I think yes. Like I'm sure you've seen like clips on YouTube and stuff of like actors being interviewed for films and stuff, or like, dude, like that shit must get so annoying because they have to sit there in that same chair and like have multiple interviews with multiple reporters.
Oh, I bet it's terrible.
And like, dude, you got to think like some of them are like actually there to report, and then like some of it's like filler, gossipy, like tabloid shit, and like you get that comment from that one reporter.
There's a mix of all that, yeah.
And she's like, "So you deny these things, right?"
She asks him if he injects pig semen into his face for like rejuvenation or something,
and he's like, "What?"
And he said, "Who said that?" And she's like, "Prostate Whispers on Twitter says," which is like a ridiculous handle, but like
that's literally how. The movie's a little bit ahead of its time because that's literally how some reporting is done now. Like if you, like, for example, Snapchat is like the only technical social media I have. And so if I scroll over to like the stories and stuff and like the Discover and like all like these corporations and like news outlets and reporting things, they have like clips and stuff. And like then you can like scroll up and like read like an article sometimes. And like sometimes it's just like this person on Twitter said some fucko that doesn't have any real weight is somehow the quote that they're trying to elaborate on. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, how does this have any weight to what you're trying to describe? Like, I hate that aspect of like reporting in social media because it's like everyone has a voice now, and like some people don't need it, or like they don't have fucking requirements to be put on a pedestal to have a fucking comment.
Not at all.
That's like I think the movie like was trying to get at like how fucking annoying that shit is to like actors and actresses, like how like your words can be bent and like you can be fished. Like one of the famous ones is Robert Downey Jr. being like baited, because I don't know if you know this, I'm sure you do, but like Robert Downey Jr. has had like a drug abuse past and like has a ton of,
I knew that
before he did Iron Man and stuff. And there's this famous interview where like he like walks away like from this interview because this guy's trying to bait him because he's literally just trying to promote a movie, like how Reagan's trying to promote his play, and somehow they're trying to talk about Birdman 4 and semen on his face. And it's like he's just trying to promote a fucking Broadway play, and like
it's like all like fucking deviated from the main purpose of
like,
what he's trying to do.
Trying to promote this and find validation and like pay for this financially and like try to find success in this, and he's just getting like bombarded with bullshit. And in that famous interview, Robert Downey Jr. is like, what are we doing here? Like, or I thought we were promoting a movie. And this guy's like trying to talk about his father and his past. And like, he's like, do you think your past defines you as, you know? And he's like, what are we, like, you know what I mean? It's like, fuck off, man. Like, that shit's so annoying. Like, that's a real person.
It's funny because like all three interviewers in this scene are different. Like you have the one guy with the glasses, and like it seems like he might be sort of legitimate. Like he's like talking about like the Raymond Carter play. He's like, how does a superhero actor go from doing this on Broadway? And then you have the woman who's like the Twitter spear type of person. And then you have the Chinese guy where like someone's words get twisted into something else. Where he says, that's why I did not do Birdman 4. And then the Chinese guy's like, you did Birdman 4. Blah.
Which is like, oh, there could be another Birdman movie coming type thing.
Yeah. It's just like the way that like information can be twisted and I don't know.
Not validated.
It's like playing a game of telephone. It's sort of like that.
Like before social media, famous celebrities and like important cultural figures, like their information would get out to people through news outlets and stuff rather than like directly from the source,
like E or TMZ
or like
that.
Fucking Extra, you know.
Oh my God.
Extra,
is that still a thing?
I think so. It used to be. I do not watch cable television, nor am I home for that time of day anyway.
I haven't had cable in like 3 years.
Yeah, it's like we're definitely moving away from that shit. That shit ain't.
Yeah, it's
I know
on the outs.
I know for a fact that when I'm 40 years old or 50 years old or when my kids are 30, cable television may not be a thing. Like you may have internet service providers. Couldn't tell you the last time I'm like, let me scroll and see what's on fucking Fox Sports tonight. I'm like, I just pull that shit up on my phone. Like if I want to watch UFC or something.
It's all like personalized now. Like you can just like go and find it.
Like it's what do you call it? You're so curated. Like you can have whatever you want on your phone, like in your pocket. News, sports, television shows that you would like, streaming services. Like cable's on its way out.
It's dead to me.
The only people that I know use it are like older family members. I think like the theme of the movie we talked about earlier, like reflective of like the Black Swan and like Whiplash, of like an obsessed artist like looking for validation. There's a one scene in the movie where like his ex-wife comes like in the middle of the first performance to the general public.
It's not a preview anymore, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Right? And she's talking about how you mistake admiration for love. And she's like,
that's a big theme.
Yeah.
For like multiple characters in the movie, I think.
I mean, it's an interesting comment because damn, I don't want to get too fucking sappy or personal, but like I'm sure I'll go there.
It's what you do.
Just
do it.
Fucking person. Like dude, there's a movie that I want to watch that I've never seen, and I'm not suggesting it or anything, but it's called Synecdoche, New York, which is got
Charlie Kaufman movie
with Philip Seymour Hoffman. And there's a song in the movie called "Song for Caden," which is the main character, and the lyrics say, "No one will ever love you for everything that you are," being like, no one will love every aspect of your being besides you, and only people love certain parts of you. I'm not going to love every aspect of my girlfriend. Not to say that I don't love her. You know, I'll make that girl my wife
no
one
one's
day.
Perfect.
Exactly. You know? Like I'll make that girl my wife one day, but like just like she'll never love every aspect of me, and like same goes with like parents and siblings and family members. Like no one will love everything that you do. And this is more of a comment on like no one will ever admire everything that you do. Like we talked about it earlier, like we don't like the new J. Cole record, but like I love some of his old career, and that's okay. Like time is a linear thing, and like I can only go back and listen to old J. Cole if I really want to get true like nostalgia and enjoyment out of J. Cole. But his new shit, like I may not like it, but there's somebody out there that probably thought, I'm sure there are. I'm sure there's plenty of J. Cole fans that are like, this shit is gospel. Like, I mean, they're very individual. But her comment is, you mistake admiration for love. And he's trying so hard to prove that he's not just some superhero actor, and that he's got something left, and that he's not what he has been portrayed to be. I think that was the common theme, and it's not just for him. It's for like Emma Stone's character, the daughter. Like she's not just somebody that
like went to
has
rehab.
that went to rehab. Like
Yeah.
Edward Norton comments on that. He talks about how she's more than just a mess, even though she is a mess. That's something beautiful.
Well, this ties into all of what you're saying. One of the first things you see in the movie after like Michael Keaton is like levitating in the fucking rehearsal room in the beginning.
Smells like balls.
Yes, like this basement does right now.
This beer kind of tastes like balls that I just poured.
Is it bad?
I don't know if I like it. It's gonna take me a minute. It's not bitter compared to what we just drank.
It's got that Belgian wheat taste, dude, that I don't like that much.
It's so fucking sweet, and I don't like it. This is one of my beer drop, my birthday present.
Your little subscription service that you got.
I know.
Right?
I'm so fucking fancy. Look at me with my craft beer knowledge.
This stuff like leaves an aftertaste in your mouth that I don't enjoy.
It's called the Tipsy Nipper. It's a passion fruit saison, and I don't know if I like that.
That Le Fin du Monde that we love so much is a Belgian ale, and it kind of has like that aftertaste to it, but the other flavors are so rewarding that you can ignore. It tastes like a sour, kind of.
Yeah, but it's like
Belgian
sweet.
wheat.
It's like tastes like dewgrass, sweet, light.
I think it's okay.
It's okay.
It's not bad.
It's not bad, but like that's a shift. It's a paradigm shift. Okay, but yes.
Back to what I was saying. One of the first things that you see in the movie is he goes up to his mirror, and there's this sticker in the corner of the mirror. I made special notice to pay attention to this.
As the quote.
And it says, "A thing is a thing, not what is said of the
About
thing."
that thing.
And there's a lot of themes of public and critical perception in this movie. And like, I mean, one of the main plot points is they're trying to get a good review from the New York Times. Yeah, like everybody in this movie is like obsessed with what they're perceived as. Like Regan Thompson wants to be more than a superhero. Naomi Watts has like diatribes about like, I thought I was going to be a Broadway star. You know what I mean?
She's like looking for someone to tell her that she made it. Ah,
and then like,
fuck!
and
I'm
then,
getting hit right now.
And the brown-haired girl, her thing is she wants to be loved by Regan, and she's like jealous after Regan gives special attention to Naomi Watts. There's multiple angles going on here.
Yeah.
It's hard to like hit them all.
Bro, you know what I just got hit with?
What?
The fucking personal feels. Like thinking about a thing is a thing, not what is said of a thing.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? It's funny because how do I put this in words that doesn't reveal my psyche?
We're going somewhere that I wasn't anticipating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I'm just thinking like, do you know how sometimes we'll talk about people and being like, this is their personality in a nutshell. And like it's funny, like it's fun.
But we like don't really know.
We don't really know them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like and it's like it's okay to like generalize, but like
I think about this all the time.
I do too. Yeah, like
the way I portray myself at work is I'm the silent type at work most of the time.
He's so quiet. He's a good listener, is what they say about you.
Do they?
And it's because he doesn't fucking care what you have to say.
When I'm at Domino's, you know, I'm like, after years of being there, I don't really care about expressing my personality more.
And I'm a dick to some people, dude. I'm a dick to some, and I'm like the man to others. Both of those things are true, and it's just based on personal perception of what people have. And then the other thing is too, it's like someone only has a limited knowledge of who you are because it's just information, and whether or not they have it or not, and whether or not I'm real with them or I've given them more time than, you know, normally allotted to like give up my personality and like my interests. And it's funny because like a thing is a thing, not what is said of a thing. It's like a person is a person, not what is said of a person. Like someone can label you and like their reality of who you are is true to them and maybe different to somebody else. Like that may not be true to someone else. Does that make sense?
Makes total sense.
Like it's just personal perception of like, who are you and what do you bring to the table? And like the people that really love you, they'll like see past that shit and like we'll see like the positive and the negative aspects of like who you are like underneath. You know, that's everybody. It's fucking weird. It's all just a fucking show, guy. You know?
It doesn't bug me though. I don't give fucking shit one about what people think about me at Domino's, really.
Dude, I only care what the people I truly love and care about think about me. We should say, does this man have fucking powers? He jumps out the fucking window. What the fuck is going on here? I can't tell if this is a comment on like the elevation that he achieves, but like it's through Emma Stone's character, so I don't really fucking know.
Are we jumping forward too much?
Well, he blows his fucking face off at the end of the...
God. Well, the ending is like so ambiguous that I think it's hard to... It was left that way on purpose, I think.
Oh, for sure.
One of the reasons I like this movie so much is because, like, every time I go back to it, I mean, like, I catch, like, new details and, like, new jokes and, like, visual gags and, you know, cinematography and all that. But the ending...
Is this something you can't nail?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I have no idea what the ending means. And, like, I have different theories on what the ending means. We were talking about, like, critical reception and, like, a thing is a thing, not what is said of a thing. And there's like the subplot with the critic, like from the New York Times.
Yeah.
And like, you know how like Regan is like super self-absorbed. He's not really doing it for the art. He's doing it to change his public perception.
Yeah.
The critic kind of has the same thing going on where she's like, I'm going to kill your play, like before she even sees it.
Yes.
Like she has her own ego. Like
she has her own perception of what he is before she's even seen the play, whether it's good or not. And then she sees it and her perception changes.
And she's like in her profession, and like she probably has a certain reputation where like people might expect her to tear this thing down. The whole like thing with critical reception or like ego, I think it spans across many characters in this movie, not just Regan.
No, it's definitely a common theme throughout them all.
In the end of the movie, Regan gets a real gun and he shoots his fucking face off.
Also, I should comment that I think he was thinking about killing Edward Norton on stage.
Maybe because he
points the gun at him, and it's outside like the normal rehearsal.
I don't know if he like really thinks about doing it for real, but like it's like his last way to stick it to him. Like, hey, motherfucker, I got my eyes on you.
Yeah, like, well, I honestly like that ending performance. I'm like, you could tell he's like battling, should I shoot this guy or not? And he teases the gun more than he had in previous performances. Is more antagonizing. I'm like, like, because you can tell like his character, you know, Regan, in not playing his character in the play, that's really showing through. Like, is he?
Well, I think that there's truth to the art at this point. Mike Shiner always says, I only fake it outside of the stage. I'm always real on stage. But like people might think that Regan was faking on stage. But like now that like he's come to the point, there's reality to his acting, and so he gives the best performance of his career at the end. Because
he like is like fuck the critic.
Yeah,
and fuck.
And there's like some commentary I have to make in the end about the critic and like all this shit and like reality and truth and, you know, honesty, like, you know, whatever. The final scene, Michael Keaton is in the hospital.
Blew his nose off instead of killing himself.
He's surrounded by Amy Ryan, his ex-wife, Jake, and then like Sam comes in eventually. Zach Galifanakis.
And he's ecstatic, even though his face is fucking reconstructed.
I have a lot of conflicting opinions about this last 5 to 7 minutes of the movie because I don't know how to take it, and I'm not sure how you interpret it.
Regan has like no dialogue, right?
Hardly any.
Yeah, the world around him is like it's his ex-wife and like her concern. It's like Sam and her concern, and it's like Zach Galifanakis' character Jake and his like praise. Michael Keaton's character Regan doesn't have any like real dialogue. He like gets up, goes to the restroom, and like takes his bandage off his nose, and he has like like a bird nose, like a real curve to it. And it was weird. It was weird to see Michael Keaton with like that prosthetic on. Like it was fucking hilarious to me.
He looked like Tobin Bell.
Is that another
from the Saw series to me in this last fucking scene?
Let me look him up because there's an actor that I thought he looked like. Oh no,
I thought he looked like Tobin Bell in this last scene.
I thought he looked like I cannot remember what the other guy was from, but he plays like an antagonist in like probably some shitty movie. But he looked like this other actor, and I'm like, But it was weird to see because you can tell his face is not right. But he looked like a bird. Literally looked like a bird. Like Embrace the Birdman. And I know that was fucking intentional.
And Birdman himself
on the toilet.
Appears on the fucking toilet.
And he's basically just like, "What's up?"
He doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
And Michael Keaton walks out of the room and he whispers under his breath like "fuck you" or something. And then, like, he opens the window to the hospital room.
Sees the birds flying.
It's insinuated that he jumps out.
Yes.
Now, as a viewer, how are we supposed to take this last 5 minutes of the movie?
The thing is like, is it a dream sequence kind of thing like earlier? Is he actually going to kill himself even though he like achieved everything that he wanted right there in the end? But then like Sam sees him, like was like, Dad, you know, like looks in the bathroom, brings him the flowers that he likes, and then like, but he can't smell them through his nose. But like then she looks out the window, but then you get like sirens. But then like as she you know looks down, then looks up, and then is like in awe, and then like has like a disbelief laughter, and like this is where the movie ends. And what I'm hung up on is that we know he doesn't have powers, right? Is it a comment on a dream sequence, or is now Sam looking up at her dad like that, you know, that he's done something noteworthy and worthwhile and has like proved himself or something? But then like it doesn't really make any sense because like nothing like about his character really changed in the eyes of Sam. Like that wasn't really the point. Mm-hmm. I'm just really confused and conflicted on like what the message was, and I'm sure there's plenty of theories.
My original theory is that this scene was like not heaven, but like some weird like compilation of all the things he wanted, the critical acclaim, the acceptance from his family. That's what I originally thought. On my most recent viewing, I saw it as like all the love he was getting was kind of like superficial, because like he gets the good review from the New York Times, but I think the lady that wrote the review like felt forced into writing a good review because like he did a stunt. Yeah. He shot his face off. Yeah. And like if anybody wrote a negative review about that, it'd be like fucking death, you know?
Fuck, you're right.
Sam is obsessed with like viral fame, and she's like, yeah, I made you a Twitter, and like, you know, you have this video, it's like got a lot of views. That felt superficial to me. Mm-hmm. And his ex-wife felt inclined to like be by his side because he almost died. Mm-hmm. Like it felt like kind of fake to me. And
Zach Galifanakis' character, he was so like anxious and nervous about the production the whole time, and when it finally achieved, when it finally achieved like critical acclaim and popularity, and he was like worried about like book deals and like they'll like, don't worry, they'll be calling. Mm-hmm. Fuck, Getter, do you know what I mean? Right?
Because he comes in and he's like, my best friend's alive, and you got what you wanted, huh? Or like he's like talking about like the good review and the book deals, like you said, and all that, and like it kind of feels superficial to me. So my interpretation is that when Zach Galifanakis says, this is what you wanted, huh? It was unfulfilling to Michael Keaton's character. I don't know if the final jump out the window was actually like a suicide. He doesn't have powers, as far as I'm concerned.
No, he doesn't have powers, but the movie fucks with you in that way.
I think it was the realization that like he had fucked everything up so bad between like all his personal relationships, and he was so obsessed with like this critical acclaim. When he finally got it, it meant nothing. And he already knew that like the relationship with like his ex-wife and Sam was kind of like beyond repair. Mm-hmm. So I know that's super depressing.
Dude, it's not depressing. It's fucking real.
Like he realized he fucked up.
Dude, fuck.
Can we talk about the jellyfish? I know we're near the end of this.
What the fuck? That was a weird cut.
It's the first image you see in the movie.
Yeah.
For like 0.2 seconds. You see...
And like the meteor and stuff, right?
Yeah, you see the meteor like crashing. And there's like multiple references to Icarus.
Which is like isn't like an angel?
Like an angel that like had fake wings. And like, I don't know exactly what it is, but like they failed to fly. And there's also references to like Phoenix, you know, Flight of the Phoenix. Phoenix rose again and flew, and you know, all the shit. There's like a juxtaposition between like Icarus and the Phoenix. Michael Keaton was Icarus. Like he like fell. Maybe it was a little bit of both. The jellyfish thing obviously had to do with like
he got stung.
He tells a story about the failed sunburn. Suicide.
He was trying to go and drown himself, and he got stung by jellyfish, and he had to get out of the water.
And that's the first image that you see after he like shoots himself in the face. You see like the same images from the beginning of the movie.
Shit. This movie, dude.
God damn, it's thought provoking, isn't it?
It reminded me of the Kojima game. Death Stranding, because there's like a lot of weird imagery in that movie.
In
Not
the
gonna talk
game.
about the game, but like there's really weird like beach imagery and shit, like shit that just gets thrown in your face for like no fucking reason, that you have no idea what the hell is happening. It's thought provoking. Like why is this here? Why is the jellyfish there?
I think because it shows up right after his second, what I think is supposed to be an attempted suicide.
But he can't,
Because he fails, just like the person in the play does.
And like how he did in real life.
Yeah. I think it's a lot to take in, kind of.
Shit, dude. Yeah, man, that's fucking a lot.
And I don't think that there's any way to come to like
A conclusion.
total conclusion.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's like tons of people that ponder this ending and like have no idea what to make out of it.
It's so fucking funny. It's kind of a comment on like our reality nowadays. Like I think everyone knows that like fame and fortune will like not really bring you anything other than fame and fortune. Real, true, intimate friendships and relationships are like the more fulfilling things in life. But like Riggins' character, like how you said, like his personal relationships are like beyond repair. Shit.
Exactly. Fuck.
This was an excellent film, dude. Like, I can't believe I hadn't seen it up until this point, because I kind of like hold myself to this fucking standard. Like, I only watch good films. And I'm like, fuck, how did I miss this one? And you're right. You have been trying to get me to watch this for years, but I'm glad we got to sit down and talk about it on the podcast, because this has definitely been one of my favorites.
When I was 14, I saw the movie Fight Club.
That shit changed my life.
That movie made me fall in love with film.
Same. That movie, there's a ton of movies like that for me. There's a movie called 7 Pounds with Will Smith and like Pursuit of Happiness.
You almost said Will Ferrell.
I almost did say Will Ferrell.
How much would that movie change? Will Ferrell was in the main role.
Fucking Christ. Like movies that you like get like a deeper understanding of like life. It's funny because like unfortunately the truth sucks, but the truth is like the antidote to chaos. Not to get religious, and I'm not religious, but like the Bible comments on this a lot, and like you can think what you want about the Bible, but like it's kind of like it's a true like comment on like the antidote to chaos and like how the truth, you know, the truth will set you free. Fucking fame is weird, and like it ruins a lot of people's lives, and like there are only a few that really make it out of fame like with like their mind intact. For example, like Michael Jackson, like all these people like that get raised to like this crazy standard and like fall from grace kind of thing. But like at the end of the day, dude, like those were like people. Like those were like people like me and you that like had to like try to navigate that shit. This movie fuck dude, this movie is destroying me.
The reason I bring up Fight Club though is like
sorry, I didn't mean to go.
No, you're totally cool. Fight Club did for me like the teenage version of myself what this movie did for the adult version of myself.
Fucking right.
And weirdly enough, there are actually like similarities between the two. Unreliable narrator with like schizophrenic tendencies, a voice outside their head.
Norton.
With Edward Norton. A dude shooting himself in the face at the end of the movie. This movie is way different than Fight Club, but there are similarities that I draw between the two.
Dude, that movie is such a great coming of age movie, like so unintentionally. Like,
oh my God.
Dude, my brother would probably say the same thing.
It's like a movie meant for 35-year-olds that like translated to 15-year-olds really well.
I'm telling you, man. I've seen that movie probably 15 times. I swear.
Same.
Like,
yeah.
I remember being so dumbfounded at that movie. Like, I felt like I had a secret that no one else had. Fuck, dude. Like, this movie's doing the same thing. You're fucking right. Movies like this, man, like are like worth talking about.
That's why I love film, dude.
Shit. You can watch this movie and feel something different, deepen your appreciation for it, which is why I'm going to give my rating a 10 out of 10, which I think is...
That's rare from you.
I'm not trying to like sugarcoat it and be like, oh, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Like,
this is coming from the man that gave Abbey Road a 7.
Hey, listen... I am who I am.
On.
I am who I am, all right? 8 out of 10 if you really
Not
want
what is said of you.
The more I've listened to Abbey Road, by the way, I give it more like an 8 or a 9. But at the time of like listening for the first time, it's a thing where like I have to listen enough to where like I truly appreciate. But there's a couple songs on there where I hate Maxwell's Silver Hammer.
No.
I hate it. Every time I play it, I'm like, fuck, I hate this song.
It's one of like the corny McCartney songs I love.
Yes, it's that grandma shit, bro. I don't get that shit out of here.
Dude, give me a walker and call me Agnes because I fucking love that shit.
No, I ain't into that. Abbey Road's fucking dope.
That's a testament to the podcast format. Like, I recommend a thing, and you only have 2 weeks to digest it. So
I have 2 weeks to digest a masterpiece, yes. There's too much going on here to where I can't be like, nah, like, I can't give it anything less than I mean, I can give it a 9. Like, I can give it a 9 out of 10, but, like, that's just me being like, I can't give it a 10 out of 10 because that would be fucking cliche. No, I'm going to give it a fucking 10 out of 10. Like, I know every time I watch this movie now, I'm going to come into it with, like, this deep appreciation and, like, everything between soundtrack, cinematography, like, character development, like, it runs too fucking deep. This is like To Pimp a Butterfly, you know? Like, there's too much to dissect where, like, if it's leaving you guessing and if it's leaving you contemplating and giving you so much room to think about, and they're all positive qualities, I don't think I can give it anything less than a 10 out of 10. I should have watched it more than once, but I truly appreciate what I saw.
I'm in the same boat as you. This is a 10 out of 10 for me. I mean, like, it was no secret going in that I absolutely love this movie. Yeah, everything you said. Cinematography, acting, writing, the casting, the meta commentary, the fucking Birdman himself saying the slow, depressing, talking, philosophical bullshit. This movie smells like balls, and I love it.
Dude, thanks for suggesting this. This has been absolutely one of my favorite podcasts and one of my favorite films that we've done.
I'm glad.
I have a deep appreciation for this movie now. Everything you said, like, deepened my appreciation for it as well.
I forgot to mention the director, Alejandro.
Yes.
I can't remember what his last name's hard to pronounce. It's like Naratu or something like that. He did this movie that won a bunch of Oscars in 2014. And then he did The Revenant 1 year later, and that was like a big Oscar movie.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a movie since then.
I've never seen The Revenant. My brother actually loves that movie. I've never had the chance to watch it.
I've never seen it either.
I know it's very intense, and I don't know.
Supposedly way different than this. So
I'll be interested what he has coming up.
Piss break.
So, you have made a comment that I haven't done an album in a long time. I think it's been since Daft Punk, right?
Yeah, it's been about 5 months, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not bringing you anything super groundbreaking here, okay?
Let
me just preface this.
Okay.
This is a band we've talked about plenty before. It's not the record that I love the most from them, but we're doing Half Moon Run. We're doing a Blemish in the Great Light.
A Blemish in the Great Light.
Or is it? It's either that or a Blemish in a Blemish in the Great Light, and it's their most recent record. But they have a record coming out in June.
Ah, okay.
And I've been trying to digest this album over the last week or two because I'm trying to get more familiar with it. And I think it'll bring a little bit to the table that you appreciate. I know there are going to be some drawbacks to the record that we'll both talk on. It's not some fucking masterpiece, but I think there will be plenty to talk about and comparisons we can draw between other bands that we like that I think will make for an interesting podcast. Also, me and you, when we do talk about Half Moon Run, we only talk about their debut record, which is Dark Eyes, which is one of my favorites that I've ever listened to.
It's a great record.
But we're going to do their most recent release in anticipation because I think their next record comes out like June 18th or something. So it'll be interesting to talk about. Their production on this record is pretty interesting, so
okay. We'll talk about it. I'm excited for that. Sure. Yeah.
It's an album. I'm challenging you this time, motherfucker. All right. So
motherfucker.
we'll get into it that because I usually bank on you for good musical references. So I'll try to broaden your horizons a little bit on this one.
I am ready, homie.
All right, shitheads. If you enjoyed the podcast, please give us a like and rating. Okay. Tell your friends. Tell your mother. She'll love it. But until next time, this is Two Dudes, Brews, and Reviews. Damn it. The brews definitely play a part. And with that, give him the thing.
Adios.